my game.
So I still get a lot of questions about this car, my R34, and every video that I make, someone always asks me, oh, talk about the R34, talk about the R34. I have done videos about the R34, but for the sake of explanation, I'm gonna talk about it. So, this is my 2001 Skyline GTT. So it's not a GTR. A lot of people get confused. I never said it was a GTR. I never tried to pretend it's a GTR. It's a GTT. This is a rear-wheel drive RB25 DET Neo that basically is set up the way I like it. So this is the rear-wheel drive version of the R34, basically. It's got the basic stuff on it. It has coilovers. It's got the RPF ones. It's got a lot of work under the hood though. So a factory RB25 DET, Neo or non-Neo, either one, has a crossover intake manifold that goes over the valve cover and then has piping that goes down to the intercooler and the turbo. The turbo is in a very, very deep, low mount position that you can't see it, and the valve covers are an older, crusty looking valve cover if you've ever seen one before. So in order to get that motor to look like this, you can imagine how much work was necessary. This is a cockpit Tatebayashi intake. It's extremely rare and not very cheap. So I had to get that intake manifold to replace that. Then we had to run the intercooler piping into this location, which meant that I had to get rid of the factory battery as well as move this fuse box. The fuse box used to be over here. So this is now shifted all the way over here. And the battery I replaced with this lithium anti-gravity battery, which is super duper light, weighs like 2 pounds. So we shaved a lot of weight there. Great battery, by the way. I put a kill switch in to turn it on and off. And also I'm running the Go Fast Bits dual response blow-off valve, which I love. It's basically it's adjustable, but I've got it set to full atmosphere because I'm running a Haltech and I don't have a mass airflow meter anymore. But if you have a mass airflow meter, you can run this blow-off valve in a 50-50 or full recirc if you want, and it will it'll work. It's adjustable. So the intake had to be completely redone, which meant all of the fuel lines and vacuum lines and everything that went with it had to be changed out in order to get that to work. The injectors have been upgraded to Fuel Injector Clinic 1100 cc. The stock injector is really small. It's only like 300 cc's. Also, I'm running E85, so you need that extra buffer for that. The valve cover is an RB26 valve cover. It actually fits on an RB25, but you have to do something about the front cover in order to line that up if you want to. And in this case, I just took it off because the RB25 Neos are a variable cam. So I think it's pretty cool to see that mechanism in place and spinning and doing its thing until it catches a finger or something, I guess. But okay, so that's the valve cover in order to make it have that nice, sleek, familiar look that most people are familiar with when they see under the hood of a Skyline. The turbo setup is a custom manifold that's holding this T04Z turbo that's from ATP turbos. This is basically the identical dimensions of the HKS T04Z. I couldn't find an HKS T04Z, so I had to get the next best thing, which was a T04Z made in the spirit of the HKS turbo. So it still has all the cool noises and does everything that a typical T04Z is supposed to do. This is in a 63 AR trim, so it spools pretty quick. And I'm running 85, so I know it was going to spool pretty fast. The pipe work was done by our local our local fabricator, which is Rare Fab. As you can see, he really took the time to create something amazing, and I'm happy with it. The downpipe fits perfectly. There's no interference anywhere. We're running the tile wastegate with the external dump, so it's dumping externally right to the ground. It makes all the sweet, crazy, ripping, tearing sounds that you would expect from a Skyline again. The piping on the cold side is aluminum going to the HKS intercooler in the front, and this car also has the Nismo. It's Nismo factory, but it's not installed from the factory. It's like a dealer or aftermarket example, but it's the Nismo body kit. I forget what it's called. I want to say it's like a Corey or something. But anyway, this is real Nismo stuff, and it's kind of cool because it gets rid of. There's a couple of brackets and things here that it gets rid of, and it creates this lip effect, which is really sweet. I like the way that looks. It's a little more aggressive. Again, this is not to make it look like a GTR. This is totally unique to the GTT. You don't get this kit on a GTR. The GTR has the Z-Tune setup, which everyone knows is awesome. I love that too. But this is totally different. This is basically the front bumper, side skirts, and a rear bumper. But on this car, I didn't like the rear bumper. I didn't like the Nismo rear bumper. We have a white car that's next door. It's Peter's. His has the rear bumper, and the rear bumper has like this weird step to it. So this car, I like it with the factory rear bumper, and we added the side skirts on the side, and then to round it out in the back, we have the diffuser, which is actually an FD diffuser that's been modified to fit onto this car. So it's got brackets and stuff that had to be fabricated to fit, but I like the effect. I think that's a pretty popular choice for most cars anyway. Exhaust wise, it's just a custom big can exhaust that I added a titanium burn tip to, just to give it that look. So it's nothing too crazy, but it's just custom piping all the way back. Again, Rare Fab helped me out with all that, and super happy with the way it is. I like the sound. It's completely different than Dusty or any other Skylines, in my opinion. It's got a nice growl to it. So exterior wise, that pretty much rounds it out, other than the carbon fiber hood. The factory hood is steel, and it's really heavy. It's like 70 pounds, 75 pounds. It's stupid heavy. This hood weighs about 20 pounds, and it's much lighter, much easier to manage, and I think it looks cool. I like the venting. Adds that nice Z-Tune look to it. Again, I'm not trying to be a GTR. I'm not trying to be a Z-Tune car, but in my opinion, I like the way this hood looks. I think it matches up with the R34's lines and everything. So pretty good setup in my opinion. So we'll go to the inside now. A couple things done on the inside. I kept it pretty simple. These seats are actually R33 GTR seats that were retrofitted in. They are not a direct fit. You have to actually create brackets and do some welding and stuff to make it fit, but they're here. As you can see, the back is a direct fit, so the back seats just went right in. They dropped in no problem, but the front seats there had to be brackets made in order to make them fit. So I like the way that they look. The factory seats in this car look kind of like a regular 240 or Sylvia seat, and in my opinion, they're just tame. But I mean, the car's not very aggressive from the factory either. This is just what we've come up with. Steering wheel is a Keys Racing. It's a pretty hard to get wheel, and it is suede. So this is in my opinion, this is like one of the holy grail wheels of Japan if you're into the whole, tuning scene. People give me shit all the time because I wear gloves when I'm driving it. These are, you can see they're nubuck leather gloves. So if you're gonna keep your suede wheel together, you want very similar surfaces. They won't wear each other down. So I wear the gloves when I'm driving the car. It keeps the oils, it keeps the dirt and everything off of this wheel, and this wheel stays pristine. It doesn't sit out in the sun. It doesn't get, you know, oiled up and crappy. If you know somebody with a suede wheel, I guarantee you within a month, it looks like a slimy, greasy, I don't even know what. But as you can see, this one has stayed perfect, and that's the secret. Wear gloves and don't use these gloves for anything else but driving. So they stay in the car. The shifter is a Nismo shifter, but it's not a like short shifter per se. It's just like the 10% or something. It's not much. It's just a nice solid feel, and I like it. The knob, for some of you who are really keen, you might identify this. That is from an FD. I actually had, if you look in some of my older videos, I had an FD. It was swapped out. I ended up selling it, but I kept my shift knob. So here it is. I put it on this car. I love the FD shift knob. It's really heavy, and it feels right for me. So that's that. The stock shift knob on this car looks like a regular R32 GTR shift knob. We've got plenty of those, so if I ever need to replace it, no big deal. And that's about it for the interior. The Haltech is down there. You can't see that. That's hiding. I got a boost controller tucked in here, as well as a keys knob, just in case anybody calls me out on that. I got the keys shift knob. I just don't put it on. I got it though. And that's it. So I hope you liked it. That's my little tour of the R34. I'll do some driving video with it sometime, but if you want to see it, you can go check out the video on TRC that he did. He came and visited us, and we took it out and hammered it, and it made some amazing video. So go check out his channel. Just Google Skyline TRC or R34 TRC, and it'll pop up. You'll see it. So thanks for checking out the car with me. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I can't get these cars, so don't ask for one. I was lucky enough to get this car from a friend, and I am not selling it. So if you want it, sorry.
One of these, front finger.